Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I didn't mean to be early, so I was trying to do some testing, and it just so happens that I guess it didn't actually test it in the proper way. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't kick me off of YouTube. But just to let you guys know, what's been going on is that YouTube has had a battle with the FTC, and now I have to basically tell YouTube that my content is not intended for children and all this other stuff, and it requires you to go through a bunch of hoops. And so I was trying to test all that out, but what the hell? Let's just do this early, shall we? So, I'm going to do a couple of things. So just keep rolling in, guys. Keep saying, hey, what's going on? And we're just gonna do it improv style. So as you can see, I'm wearing my Lamar Jackson jersey. I was at the game today. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome game. If he is not in the running, the front runner for the MVP, I don't know who is. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's going on in football this week, or this on the Sunday. But anyways, let me just give me 1 second. What I usually do is I share the link at least in Discord. So let me take care of that. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Let me. Let me get here. Give me 1 sec just to let everybody know we are here and ready to go. Okay. I think we're good. Oops. I think we're good to go. We should be anyways. What's wrong with starting a little early, huh? Let a couple more folks rolling in here. Yeah, I was just really confused. So, I know that you guys aren't, how do I want to say? You guys aren't YouTubers, right? So it's kind of a little bit to try to explain as to what's going on, but that's kind of what's been going on. So it's been a little bit confusing for me trying to make sure that we got this thing going. So I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out. But yeah, there's this huge thing that where if I don't disclose, if I disclose that my content's made for kids and it's not made for kids, I could get in a lot of trouble. The YouTube could literally shut my entire channel down. So trying to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. But hey, if YouTube lets you know that I was going live and it usually doesn't, well, that's just YouTube's notification system being YouTube's notification system. Usually that's how it works. But anyways, all right, so let's get to it. And I will welcome you guys here. So welcome to Stock Watch Sunday. My name is Brad, and this channel is Own the Chaos. The world of business and finance is a crazy and chaotic place, and I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content such as this on this channel as it relates to the stock market, finance news, running your own business, then this is the channel that you want to be at. I run my own business, and I share my journey as a business owner, and just to kind of provide inspiration to you, let you know you're not alone. If you're having some struggles, if you're thinking about starting a business and you just never made that leap, check out the barcast that we do every Monday. Comes out, and I do it with my partner Christian. We're in a bar, which is a small business, and so we thought it was appropriate. We do some fun stuff there, but then throughout the whole entire week as well, I go over stock related stuff. So by day, I am a stock trader, and I teach people how to trade stocks, and so that's how it all kind of ties together. And so if you are visiting for the first time, hopefully I get a thumbs up from you for today's video, and then also a subscription to see more content such as this. So yeah, Bob, we're early. Randy, yeah, so yeah, the Ravens, man, Ravens baby, longest winning streak in the NFL. Pretty awesome. I'm super proud of my Ravens. Diehard Ravens fan. I've been going to Ravens games for the last 20 years. It was crazy to the person that I go with, that I've been going with for the last 20 years. It was crazy to talk about that today. But yeah, I can't believe I've been going to Ravens games that long. Always a thumbs up. Appreciate you, Bob. Thanks so much, man. So yeah. So usually, if you are visiting for the first time, I'll kind of let you know how I run things. So this channel has evolved a little bit. So if you're visiting and you haven't been here in a while, you probably know that I do usually cover nothing but OTC penny stocks. Well, this channel's evolved a little bit, and I've broadened my horizons, if you will. So I've broken it up into two parts. So the beginning part of my live streams are still dedicated to the OTC. Cover OTC penny stocks. OTC is where I grew up. This is why I trade full time, and so I'm always going to be devoted to the OTC. Have a soft spot for OTC stocks, but people have really been demanding me to kind of go over some of these big boards traders as well, and I've been trading them a lot more toward from the end of summer to beginning of fall and even now, and so people have really been receptive to that, and so I wanted to make sure that I covered those stocks as well. So there'll be a half and half, if you will. So the first half will be OTC penny stocks, second half will be big board stocks. If you want to trade both of them, stay around for the whole video. If you want to see one or the other, make sure that you're hanging around accordingly. So a lot of hype and talks around RBMW. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that if you want to. That's the other thing. If you want to discuss certain topics as far as tickers are concerned, make sure that you're leaving it down in the chat, and I will, address that accordingly. Now, just one little housekeeping rule. I really probably won't respond to if you just put thoughts on and insert ticker here. So if you're going to give me something as far as a specific stock, I want to know what you see value in, and then see if we can confirm that. If you see value in a particular stock for a specific reason, I want to know why. Let me know why. Give us some sort of direction instead of just thoughts on whatever ticker it is you want me to look at. Okay, so let's get to it. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Miguel. So the first one we're going to talk about, I'm going to share my screen here with you and bring you to WeTradeHQ.com. Now, you heard me talking about the business that I own, and this is the business here, the platform that I've created with my partner, Jake, and we have built this platform for you guys to become better traders and hang out with, just better, a community of like-minded individuals, whether you've been trading for 20 minutes or 20 years. We wanted to build WeTrade HQ for you and with the trader in mind. So think of it as a social media platform for traders, but it's more than like a stock twits. It provides you with incredible tools, and we're only getting better. We've only been here for about 18 months. I actually have a very exciting news that I'll be announcing soon that we worked out with equity feed, which is now rebranded as Scan. So be on the lookout for that this week. I'm super excited about that. And so, we just keep building relationships and creating just better tools and resources for you to become a better trader. And it's all here at WeTradeHQ.com. The best thing, okay, is that it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. So if you want to go check it out, feel free to do that. You can come here. You can search your favorite ticker. You can do that by clicking the search box up here. Search your favorite ticker, and that is what leads me to FELPU today. So, FELPU, what's going on? So this is an OTC stock. Actually was just recently delisted from NASDAQ. And so I think there was a little bit of an overreaction. Those of you who are in my morning mentorship group and those of you who are in the WeTrade HQ community first discovered FELPU after the delisting and noticed that this was really starting to bottom out here. So this is on the 30-minute chart, and you can really start to see this bottoming out after the gap down from the delisting. And where is it going from here? Well, it came all the way down to the 0.15 range. So a penny and a half is how far FELPU came down. And I think this is an extreme overreaction and an extremely undervalued stock at this price point. And what I mean by that, why I say that, is because this stock has over about $2.5 billion in assets, and that's with a B. Down here in the OTC, it's very rare to see anything in the billions, let alone something that's valued at 0.15 cents per share. So we were able to start accumulating a position here and have been accumulating ever since, and are already up 500%. Some of the folks within my mentorship are already up 500% on FELPU just about. And where do we see it going from here? Well, I still think the continuation happens. I think, we're not even close to filling this gap on this gap down. And, not even by half. We're not even done by filling this gap by half based off a 30-minute chart. You can see that the share structure looks freaking fantastic. 22 million in the float. Guys, there are stocks right now that aren't actual legitimate companies, that are shells, that are worth more than FELPU, and FELPU has a $2.5 billion in assets under management, and they only have about 1.87 billion in liabilities. What are they? They're a coal mining company. They sell coal. That's their job. That's their business. And they do very well. They came out with news recently. Let's see here. Results in the third quarter. They just came out with a Q filing. That's what I just had pulled up there if you guys aren't familiar with that. Foresight generated third quarter coal sales of $181.5 million on sale volumes and 4.7 million tons, resulting in net loss of 34.1 million. So that's been the issue with Foresight. That's why you're starting to see this come down. However, just because they're an operating loss doesn't mean that they deserve to be down here at 01 or 015. We see companies that are traded well into the dollars that have operating net losses. So that wasn't like a huge deal or no surprise by anybody. But the fact that they're bringing in a lot of revenue here, and that they have billions in assets I think this is just extremely undervalued. I don't think this is going to the moon. I don't think this is going to go absolutely crazy, but just consider that it's been all the way up to, it came from 40 cents just about 2 months ago. So it wasn't that long. Any kind of material event, any kind of good looking catalyst comes out on FELPU, then I think that we see this move higher, especially on that share structure. Definitely one to watch out for, in my opinion. I think that FELPU is one to, for sure, consider trading if you are into OTC penny stocks. Where would I get into at this point? I just got done telling you that it's gone 500% from its lows earlier last week. So look for some sort of pullback. Look for a pullback. I like, there isn't much to go off of, obviously, on the chart, if you can see this. So I'm going to zoom in for you. But I would like to say, if you see some sort of pullback, look for that 2.5 cent range. I actually told my folks as well, in this 2.5 cent range, you can kind of see that there was this accumulation here. And again, this is on the 30-minute chart, so bear with me here if it's hard to see. Actually, let me zoom in for you. Let me see if you guys can see that a little bit. And so before this started to move up, you could see that this was, kind of channeling here on the 30-minute between, 2 cents and 2.5 cents. And this is just a really good trader so far. So definitely one to keep on the radar and continue to keep on the radar. Obviously, you can see it went up 116% on Friday alone. I'm going to go bullish on this one. So if you guys aren't familiar with this, you can vote on WeTradeHQ which way you think your favorite stock is going. And it'll show up here on sentiment. So right now it says neutral, but enough people start to vote bullish, it'll say bullish or bearish. We can see that on some of the other stocks I'll show you in just a sec. But that's going to be it for FELPU. That's why I see value in this one. That's why I think it's one worth watching. Let me check in with you guys. See what you're all talking about. Control Studios, Tesla short. Yeah, we can talk about that in just a sec. I actually have Tesla pulled up. So, name and ticker changed. Yep. Name and ticker to be changed as well. Yep. Absolutely. HM. Alrighty. So the next one we are watching, or that I'm watching, is a repeat of or a reappearance, I should say, of last Stock Watch Sunday, which is SBES. Now, more things are coming to light with SBES. None of which I was able to actually confirm, but I will say that there are some pieces here that are coming into play that leads people to believe that perhaps this company is merging into SBES, which is Rocky SaaS, which is software, service software product. Think of SaaS as like a cloud. of like, you know, the Google Cloud. That's what SaaS is. You know, your Apple clouds, any of the cloud software that you can store information and data at. That's pretty much what SaaS is. And so it's believed that Rocky SaaS is a multi-billion-dollar company. Whether that is true or not, I'm still a little skeptical on. But the fact of the matter is this, okay? With these rumors flying around and with a share structure that looks like SBES does, 56 million in the float. Well, we'll say it's probably not 56 million anymore, but the share structure hasn't changed at all. And I think that the way that this stock has been moving, it's probably somewhere in the hundreds of millions in the float. Probably, I would say, I don't know, maybe 200 million in float. We'll see what happens once we start to see more filings in this. I told you guys last Sunday though that if you had any opportunities to grab SBES in the teens, that it might be a good idea to do so, and it lent you some opportunities to do that. So the 12th was on Monday, so this is a day after. Right? Let me just double check here. Make sure I got my dates right. Yeah. So the 11th was on Monday. Sorry, that was Veterans Day. So the 11th was on Monday, and it definitely lent you some opportunity to do that. Has had highs now of 0025 and starting to come back down a little bit and settle down, maybe perhaps around 0020. I think that's going to be its new support area. So look for there to be opportunities for you to add to this position. As long as this story continues to develop, I think that there will be a lot more eyeballs on this one, and it'll create more volume. And what happens when volume starts to creep in on something like SBES? People start to look at it more. People start to trade it more. And so then that's when it becomes much more liquid, which we've seen a lot of liquidity with SBES. And so I think that this continues to move. Excuse me. I think this continues to move quite well, as it has already. It's really kind of hard to really kind of determine exactly who's coming in here. The just to kind of continue on this rumor a little bit. So the CEO is this Mahia Zhu person. It's believed that perhaps the CFO of Rocky SaaS is the brother of this individual, and we talked about this person taking over SBES. And so we'll just wait and see. I hate to talk about stuff like this in absolutes. As you guys recall, there have been plenty of instances where I've been accused of saying that, yes, this is for sure going to happen, even though I've never done that. But I just want to reiterate that this is the rumor that's flying around. Is it true? Is it not true? That remains to be seen. However, sometimes it's advantageous to ride something on based off of hype, and then make sure that you're protecting your risk and managing your risk accordingly, and then trade this as that story develops. So that's why it's on the watch list. You guys always know that I talked about this being stock watch Sunday, not stock buy Sunday, not stock sell Sunday. So keep that in mind. But SBES I still think is very much in play here, and I think that we could continue to see a really nice movement from this as long as everything goes. If the rumors are true, I think we could definitely see this move into the pennies, maybe more. We'll see. Okay. Either way, the setup's there, the story's there, and so I think that's why SBES continues to move, moving into next week. All right. Let me check in with you guys, see how you're all doing. Everybody having a good Sunday night? Slow going trading, yeah. 5G, Darren, I don't know about 5G stocks. I haven't looked at any in particular that I've seen that really kind of like pique my interest just yet. I'm sure that's probably going to be the next wave of OTC stocks. You see these fads, or these, I don't want to say fads, these trends that show up. We saw that with cryptocurrencies. We saw that with marijuana stocks, and they're still kind of in play. But maybe 5G becomes that next hype story for the OTC. We'll see if that happens. Precious metals and stuff like that have also been in that mix. And there's always this story, right? And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Haven't seen anything in particular that really piques my interest, but I'll keep my eyes peeled for it, Darren, for sure. All right. Okay, so that's kind of my short list of OTC stocks. Now, you guys want to provide me with some ones that you would like me to take a look at, I'd be happy to do that. But I'm going to be moving on to big boards next, and the first one we're going to talk about is Tesla, which is what Control Studios was asking me to look at. HM, I will look at RBMW in just a second. There's definitely potential there. We'll see how that all plays out. But RBMW's, I've obviously offered plenty of opportunities, and we'll revisit that after I get through the big boards here and then come back to you guys' questions. Okay. So Tesla has been an amazing runner. It's just the gift that keeps on giving with this one. Gosh, it's been really predictable up to this point, which is really not characteristic of Tesla, might I add. They came out with news that this past week that really kind of catapulted Tesla. And then they also came out with news later in the week about how they're building another gigafactory in Berlin, which is very exciting. This is going to be another nice little mover. So it's starting to establish a nice little support at 350. We've seen that between Thursday and Friday that it really just kind of likes hanging out here at 350. This is the 4-hour chart here. As you can see, it's really starting to establish itself a support. Talked about this with my morning mentorship folks earlier last week about how this was forming a nice little cup and handle, and then it obviously took off after that. Made a nice little move there, and now it's just kind of establishing itself at 350. I don't know if I would go short on Tesla right now. I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to bet against Tesla at all unless we see something that, for whatever reason, drives this stock down. As far as I'm concerned, I remain bullish on Tesla until Tesla gives me a reason not to be. And right now, there's no reason to be bearish on Tesla. And what's the rest of WeTrade HQ saying right now? Right now, everybody's in WeTrade HQ community saying buy, that they're going bullish on that. So I'll join them there. I think that Tesla is going to be bullish as well. Could we see $400 from Tesla before the end of the year? If this trend continues, I think it's definitely possible. So you could probably long-term swing this one and be quite okay. I think the next area of resistance for Tesla looks to probably be around 370. Now that is based off of a 4-hour chart. I think 370 probably ends up being the next area of true resistance. I'm sure they'll see other resistances before we get to 370. But as long as we remain bullish on Tesla, I think that's definitely where it could potentially be headed. So lots of good news on Tesla. I don't know if it would be a safe bet at all to short this at all. I really don't. I think that we continue to see a nice bullish move from Tesla. And so I'll be continuing to trade this. And really, as far as day trading Tesla is concerned, 350, anything, around the 350 range seems to be a good point of entry. And then looking for that resistance, getting towards 370. I think before 370, let's see, if you're just looking to day trade this and not doing a long-term swing, excuse me, I need to have like a water here with me while I'm talking. But I'm looking here, and really, if you look at this, shoot, man, I mean, probably 357 for a good day trade. If you can get it to bounce off of 350, 357 looks like a good area to day trade it with. But again, I really like hopping in around this 350 support and going long on this till maybe about 370. That's where I like Tesla personally. All right, so that's Tesla. Yeah, don't bet against Elon. Absolutely. Okay. Next, it's going to be Home Depot. Home Depot has earnings this week, and Home Depot definitely has a really good setup. So, actually, hold on. Let me see here. QF, if you are in there, please just let them share the link in the mentorship group, please. So, Home Depot, this is a 4-hour chart on Home Depot. has really kind of done, this is a little bit of a double top here. We'll see if this moves up over its previous high here at 238, but they do have earnings this week. So this is one that I'm definitely going to be watching for. If this breaks above 238, I will be going long on Home Depot. I think it probably plays into its earnings well. Last time it had very good earnings and then continued to pop up. Had a really nice gap up. Last time it had earnings. If it pops up over 238, I will be going long on this one. If it gets rejected at 238, might make for a nice, decent short. But again, like I always tell people, don't hold into. I'm not. So here's the thing. Okay, let me rephrase. So I would suggest not holding into over earnings, or at least that's not what I would do, because it is very risky. You might as well just be gambling at that point. Put it on black, put it on red, and see what happens if that's the route you want to go. But I like playing into earnings and then out of earnings. So for Home Depot in particular, once earnings come about, we'll see how to play this after that. But I think that the play right now is to see if this runs into earnings, which is what I'm thinking is happening. I think people are probably optimistic about Home Depot, especially based off of their last earnings report. And we should see this move above 238. If it does that, I think we see a much better move from Home Depot and to potentially higher highs. I mean, this is as high as Home Depot has been if you go all the way back even to just a year and a half ago. So Home Depot moving very nicely. I think that this is going to be a nice little trader for me this week. All right, let me check in with you guys, see how we're doing. Any questions? Okay. All right. Last one that I'm watching this week is Target. Target is another one that I think could have some really nice moves in it. We see a nice little cup and handle pattern here on Target, and we'll see what happens after earnings. This is another earnings play, and I think that Target definitely has a nice little move in it as well. It's already starting to move above its previous resistance at 113. What's it going to do now? Well, we'll see if this breaks above its previous high of 114. So with this one, I think that it's just going to play very similarly to Home Depot. Looking here at this resistance, if it breaks above that, we'll see the look to see if this actually breaks its previous high. It's going to be interesting. So with the last time they had earnings, this rocked a lot of people's worlds, and we'll see what happens here with Target right now. But I doubt it comes back down below 104. If it does, then I would probably scoop some up before earnings happen, and then see if you can't play into that hype. But you can see RSI is starting to heat up a little bit on the 4-hour chart here. Gosh, I don't know. I think that we see higher highs from Target. I think, especially going into the holiday season, that we will probably experience some positive earnings results from them. But I think that, based off of the chart, if this moves above 114, I think that that's when we'll see higher highs for this one. So that's my sentiment on Target. It's if it comes back down to probably, I would say, I'm looking to potentially make an entry at around 111. That's kind of where I'm looking at as far as Target's concerned. Trying to make an entry around 111 and then seeing if it breaks above 114. If it just straight up breaks above 114 at the beginning of the week, then I'll probably end up just taking a position and seeing where this thing can go. That will be my plan for Target. All right, let me check in with you guys right now and see what's going on. Chris asks, what are your thoughts about the 10 LOIs from GRNF? Chris, I saw that you had asked about that before. So GRNF, here's the thing about letters of intent. There's a lot of, I guess, issues that people have with letters of intent. With letters of intent, as far as I'm concerned, they don't mean a whole lot, right? They have to actually follow through with those. Letters of intent are nice, but that's just all they are. They're letters of intent. They're intending for this to happen. Doesn't mean that it will. So even though that there are letters of intent there, the fact of the matter is that GRNF, The hype was crazy on this thing. Went all the way up to $2, came back down to around 40 cents. It's kind of stabilizing around that 80-cent range. So we can take a look at that real quick, GRNF, and just take a look at the chart. And kind of like give everybody else a snapshot of what we're looking at here if you'd like. But they came out, let's see here. Was the 8K that have the LOIs here? I don't see that here on this 8K. No news on it. So you're looking at the chart here. See how this went all the way up to around $2.22 from sub penny. This was one that we watched all throughout the summer. Probably the stock of the year was GRNF. But right now it's kind of stabilizing right around that, right below $1. You know, $1 used to be that nice little support on GRNF, and now it's just kind of hanging out between 70, 75 and around 90 cents, kind of hanging out there on the daily chart. Let's come back out to around the 4 hour and see how we're doing there. Let's do 30-minute. So 30-minute chart, rather. Yeah, stabilizing, forming a nice base around 80 cents flat, I would say, actually. 80 cents flat seems to be the better support. So if it breaks below 80 cents, people might have to make a decision as to whether or not they want to stick around in this stock or not. And then it's got a pretty decent resistance around, I would say, 87 to 90 cents. The thing of it is with LOIs, though, Chris, is that people like them. They're good for a little bit of a pop, but then it's a waiting game. You're just waiting to see if they actually follow through with those letters of intent. There's really not a whole lot of merit to that. We see LOIs all of the time. I could go and write a letter of intent with whatever company I wanted to and just say this is the plan, but there's no guarantees that that'll happen. So it really doesn't mean a whole lot to me personally. They're good. They're good for a nice little run. They're good for a nice little pop, but for a long-term swing play, LOI isn't going to do it for you. So that's my personal opinion. That's my experience in trading anything that based off of a letter of intent. So let's see here. Whoops. Okay. LOI is toilet paper. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Let's see here. RBNW. I see somebody's asking about RBNW. Let me scroll back up here. Bradicus. I like it. All right, so let me just cover RBNW real quick and pull this up here. So RBNW. This has been one that's kind of gone up and down. There's been a lot of scrutiny behind RBNW. Are they a shoe company? Are they not a shoe company? Are they going bankrupt? And so that's kind of been the issues going on with RBNW. Now we'll see what happens with them as far as that's concerned. Are they going to, come out with a better catalyst or something that's going to move this stock? The thing of it is, here's what I can't stand about RBNW. Not this one. They are diluting like crazy. And that's been the issue with RBNW from the start. I'd hate to break that to you, and I know that, there's a lot of people that love RBNW, but the thing of it is that they still have a ton of notes to convert. Okay, so that's the problem with them. Every time they come out with some sort of catalyst, some sort of news, you can just see that they just start dumping. I mean, that's literally all that happens. They just keep dumping, and it's frustrating for the people who actually think that this is going to go. And maybe it does, because the share structure is still not bad for this price point. It's still not terrible. But as long as they keep dumping into the float, that's a problem. You have 66 million left in the OS. We'll see if that increases in time. But, like I said, it's not bad, but if they keep just dumping shares on catalysts that come out, on PRs and news that come out, that's a problem. It's just going to frustrate people, and people aren't going to want anything to do with it. So that's going to be the issue with RBNW. Would I trade it? Should anybody trade it? You know, and I think that comes to whether or not you see value in RBNW for the long term. But, you know, you have to just really take that dilution into consideration. Dilution's okay if it can be overcome by the buying volume. And that's the issue we're seeing with RBNW right now. Can dilution exist and the stock still run? Absolutely. But can dilution exist when there's nobody else buying into it, or there's a small amount of people buying into it? No. It's going to make it a really tough time for anybody buying into any stock that's actively diluting, as there's low buying volume as far as retail or institutional coming in, as if shares are going to continue to be dumped on it. And given the fact that the OTC market right now hasn't had a whole lot of dollar volume moving in or out of it as it is, it could be tough sledding for RBNW to continue to move up. We'll just have to wait and see. If dollar volume starts to roll into RBNW, it might be just fine. Again, the share structure's fairly decent considering, you know, where they're at, where the price point's at, where they're sitting here. So we'll just see about RBNW. I would love to see it move, but it's just historically with the issues that they've had with dilution, I just don't see how that could happen in the short term. All right. Let's see here. Hope says, I've been looking at PNNX and it seems a bit undervalued right now, around 20 cents. They seem to be involved in a lot of big chain fast food companies. Yeah, we talk about that one. I see that Miguel's asking about Shop. Nice downtrend, lower highs and lower highs and lower lows. We'll take a look at that one. And Nvidia. So I hope I'll get to yours in a second. Shop. Let's take a look at Shop here. There's a lot of people trading Shop here lately, and we'll see how people are feeling about it. Nobody seems to have voted on this one just yet. But yeah, you can see this is on the downtrend. I don't know if I would go long on Shop right now. It's not looking good for them. Just based off the chart here, I don't see that it looks like it has any real decent bounce in it. So if you're looking to go, long or short on Shopify, just right now, based off of the chart here, nothing's telling me that this would be a good idea to go long on. That's for sure. So we'll continue to keep, you can continue to keep an eye on Shop. But if it were me and I were looking to make a play on Shop, I will look to see if it gets rejected around 323, and see if it can't make those lower lows. So I'll probably go short bias on Shop for sure. Nvidia. Nvidia had earnings this past week, and was down slightly. So we'll see. Let's see here. Let's do a nice little support line. There's a nice little support line right here around 204, kind of right where it closed. Kind of closes the gap from way back here and just kind of chilling out here. So as far as Nvidia is concerned, I don't know. I didn't actually see what the earnings report was on this one, if they did well or not. I know that they had earnings. I didn't see how it turned out. But just by looking at the chart here and not going off of what earnings were, I'm looking for this to potentially break out above 210. If it can get itself back up over 210, looks pretty good there. And that's on the daily chart. Let's come back out to the 4-hour. And yeah, 200 to 204 seems to be those two areas of support. We can draw that line there, 204. And then looking for it to break up over 210. I think that's going to be its next area for it to kind of break out. If it breaks out over 210, it should continue there. The thing is about Nvidia, between like AMD, Nvidia, a lot of those other tech companies, they're doing very well. I would be surprised if Nvidia continues would actually fall, would tank at all. I think that it would continue to trend up. You can look at this trend; it looks pretty good on the 4-hour overall. So I would be more inclined to be bullish on Nvidia than I would be bearish. Definitely would go long on that thing. Need some likes. Yeah, absolutely. Give me a thumbs up there. Hey, what's up, Lost One? Good to see you. HM, good luck to you, brother. They really do, Hope. They really do. All right, so PNNX seems a bit undervalued right now, around 20 cents. Let's take a look at PNNX. Oops. And this will be my last one for the night. All right, PNNX. This is, for those of you who aren't aware, this is a OTC stock. This is one that there was a lot of controversy with this one. Was it being reinstated? Was it not being reinstated? This is one that's domiciled in Pennsylvania, so there's a lot of confusion around this one. Excuse me. Share structure looks very decent. One thing that I probably would be concerned with is that it came from all the way at 0015 and has been hanging out about around 20 cents. So making an entry here after this monster move just 2 months ago, probably would, for me personally, I would probably stay away from it only because it's already made such a monster move as is. So for me personally, when I look at stocks like this, it's like, you know what, especially in the OTC world, more than likely this is a missed opportunity. This is on the daily chart though, so it's not terrible. We come out to the 30-minute. You can see that it's created this nice little channel in the 30-minute chart between right around 15 cents to about 20 to 21 cents. So on the 30-minute chart, it's holding its gains very well. But, that kind of remains to be seen. Again, with something that's gone up this high already, it's tough to make a decision as to whether or not this would be a good buy, especially for somebody like me. For somebody like me that's buying an OTC stock like this, I want to get in nice and early. I don't want to get in at 20 cents after it came from sub-penny. I want to get in sub-penny, or at least in the low penny range, not something that's already gone up this high. So just off of those parameters and that strategy, me personally, I'm going to stay away from PNNX just because that's just how I do things. That's how I got to be in this seat right now and not working for the man anymore, is to employ that strategy. So for me, it's a missed opportunity. Can it continue to run? Potentially. The share structure's there, the setup's there. We'll see if that happens. But for me personally, something that runs like this is usually ends up being something that I stay away from. Okay. So that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have not yet left a thumbs up, I certainly would appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, I would appreciate that as well. If you want to see more content such as this, I do put out videos all throughout the week as it relates to day trading and trading in the stock market, both penny stocks, big boards, whatever. And then also make sure that you're tuning into the Barcast that goes live at 4 p.m. Eastern time every single Monday, just to kind of loosen things up and talk about just business and business life and what we're doing in our businesses. And it's a fun thing that I just do. It happens every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So go check that out. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B. Smith is out. Have a good night.